What if I told you the number one thing destroying your ability to master any subject is your effort to learn it? You spend thousands of hours highlighting, memorizing, and forcing yourself to study, all because you're scared of not being good enough. You're trapped on a hamster wheel, collecting tons of facts but never actually understanding anything. This is not about studying harder. This is about Jiddu Krishnamurti's insane path to mastery, a path that starts the second you stop trying and finally start to see. The cage of conventional study. Let's be real. The way you were taught to study is literally a prison. It's a tiny cage built from stress, anxiety, and the crazy pressure to get a result. We treat our minds like giant hard drives, cramming them with information and just hoping that wisdom magically pops out. But it never does it? Instead, we're left completely exhausted. You reread the same page 10 times, but your brain is a million miles away. You highlight so much your textbook literally glows in the dark, but a week later you remember nothing. We call this intellectual burnout, and it is destroying the joy of learning. This entire process creates a massive war. There's you, the stressed out student, and there's the subject, this giant mountain you have to conquer. This battle is why you're so frustrated. We've been told the struggle is a good thing, but this philosopher, Krishnamurti, said something that will blow your mind. This struggle is the very thing that stops you from ever learning. So I found this 20th century philosopher, Jiddu Krishnamurti, and this guy wasn't about giving you more information. He was all about setting your mind free. He said you can't find real understanding in any system, any method, or from any authority. You can't collect it like Pokemon cards. It has to hit you in a flash of insight. For Krishnamurti, our whole study method is broken because it starts with a motive, to pass a test, to get an A+, to look smart. That motive poisons the entire process. It creates fear, the fear of failure, and a mind that's afraid can't see anything clearly. His solution isn't some new study hack or a 5-step trick. It's a complete rewire of your brain. The key is to destroy the wall between you and what you're studying. This happens when you master what he called the art of observation, which you can learn through 3 insane challenges. Number 1, the art of seeing, choiceless awareness. Challenge number 1 is to see, but not with the eyes of a judge. Krishnamurti called this choiceless awareness. It's looking at something, a page in a textbook, a crazy math problem, without instantly reacting, comparing, or judging. Imagine you're looking at $1 million painting. The normal brain goes wild. Okay, that's Baroque. I like the colors. I don't get that part. What is this supposed to mean? Your mind is just a storm of noise and old opinions. Now imagine looking at that same painting with choiceless awareness. You just look. You see the lines, the colors, the textures without judging anything. You're not trying to get the painting's meaning. You're letting the painting reveal itself to you. That is the art of seeing. When you look at a subject, can you do it without instantly thinking, this is hard, this is boring, or I have to remember this? Can you just observe the information for what it is? Krishnamurti said this is like observing without the observer. The observer is your past, your biases, your fears, your ambitions. It's the I that says, I like this, or I don't get this. When you observe without that I, there's no war. There's only the thing itself. And in that total silence, insight is born. Real learning isn't forcing information into your brain. It's letting understanding explode in a quiet mind. Number 2, the art of listening, a quiet mind. Challenge number 2 comes from the first, the art of listening. Just like we learn to see without judging, we have to listen without the nonstop chatter in our own heads. Most of the time, we aren't really listening. We're so full of our own opinions and desperate to have an answer that we don't actually hear anything. Think about a lecture. Is your mind truly listening, or is it doing 100 other things? I need to write this down. Will this be on the test? I don't agree with that. What am I going to eat for lunch? All this mental garbage makes real listening impossible. Krishnamurti taught that a mind that's already full can't learn anything new. It's like trying to pour a gallon of water into a cup that's already overflowing. It doesn't work. To learn, the mind has to be empty. Not empty like you're dumb, I mean silent. It's an insane, super alert stillness where you give 100% of your attention to what you're hearing or reading. This is exactly how a child learns a language. They don't study grammar for 1,000 hours. They just listen, observe, and immerse themselves until it happens naturally. They aren't struggling. Their minds are wide open and completely engaged. To study like Krishnamurti is to build this quiet mind. You approach your books not as a critic, but as someone who is completely listening. In that silence, you will understand things on a level you never thought was possible. Number 3, the art of negation, or freedom from the known. This brings us to the final and most powerful challenge, the art of negation, or what Krishnamurti called freedom from the known. He said our minds are prisoners of everything we've already learned, our experiences, traditions, and beliefs. We see the world through a giant filter of what we think we already know, and a mind that's chained to old knowledge cannot see anything new. To truly learn, your mind has to be willing to be in a state of I don't know. This isn't being ignorant, it's being humble. It's admitting that what you already know might be the very barrier holding you back. Real learning is questioning everything, the teacher, the textbook, and even your own brain. This is an act of total freedom. The art of negation is seeing what's fake and just letting it go. You see the lie in learning because of fear. You see the lie in learning for a reward. You see the lie in blindly following someone. You negate them. You don't replace them with a new belief. You just see they're false, and they literally disappear. Krishnamurti said, truth is found through negation. It's like a sculptor creating a statue. The sculptor doesn't add more clay. They chip away all the stone that isn't the statue. What's left behind is the masterpiece. In your studies, this means being willing to unlearn. It means coming to a subject you think you know as if it's the first time you've ever seen it. The second you can genuinely say, I don't know, you are finally ready to learn. This freedom creates a mental revolution, allowing insight to take over your mind. So what does this all mean for you, sitting there with a giant stock of books and a deadline that's about to end you? It means you change the entire game. The goal isn't to cram information into your head anymore. The goal is to completely dissolve the wall between you and the subject. When you practice the arts of seeing, listening, and negation, something insane starts to happen. That war between the observer and the observed begins to fade. There's no longer you struggling to understand physics. There is only the process of physics itself. You become so completely absorbed, so totally focused, that the sense of a separate self, with all its fears and anxieties, just disappears. This is the state of flow. This is where true mastery lives. It's not the mastery of a subject. It's you dissolving into the subject itself. The anxiety is gone because the you that was so anxious is no longer in control. The struggle is over because there's no battle to be won, only a reality to be seen. This path won't make studying take less time. I'm telling you, it will make it 1,000,000 times deeper, more meaningful, and life-changing. It turns studying from a chore into a form of meditation, an act of discovery about the world and yourself. Ultimately, Krishnamurti's path to mastery isn't just about becoming a better student. It's about becoming a more intelligent, aware, and powerful human being. He taught that wisdom isn't found in books or lectures, but in the silent observation of what is. Real learning isn't just piling up more knowledge. That's just trading one prison cell for a slightly bigger one. True learning is seeing the prison of the known for what it is and having the guts to step out of it forever. It's the discovery that mastery isn't a finish line you reach, but the freedom of a mind that is always learning, always observing, and always alive. It all begins right now, the moment you stop trying and simply see. This is Peak Razor. Let's build productivity systems that win daily.